Hello again. It is September 6th, 2011. This is my fourth or fifth video. I don't know. My last video was last month, I know that. A little bit of updates since my last video. Let's see, we had the S&P story that I did. Since then, the government has tried to pursue S&P for apparently just downgrading them. They didn't like that, so they decided to investigate them and their housing bubble, how they overlooked the housing bubble and were giving AAA ratings during the housing crisis of 2008. So they just decided in a whim, apparently, that they were going to look at S&P and what they were doing, how they're determining their ratings, which is very strange because there are two other major credit rating agencies in America, and that is Moody's and Fitch. Both of those credit rating agencies are giving AAA rating to the to U.S. currency right now. So the government decided not to take a look at them, despite the fact that they were also giving AAA ratings to the housing market in the U.S. in 2008. So I guess it's just by coincidence that Moody's is being singled out this time, right? Well, also other news, Gibson Guitars was raided for selling Indian wood in their guitar, which is not against U.S. law. Apparently it's against Indian law. So it is our business now to enforce Indian law. Apparently the exporters aren't in trouble from India. Gibson has clearance from Indian government to import these wooden pieces, and it's just the government going after Gibson. So it leaves you to wonder, well, what is the vendetta? What is the motive for the government to go after Gibson guitars? And I don't know that answer. I know they're not union. They employ over, I forget how many people. It's thousands though. It's in the thousands of people that they employ. They're a U.S. manufacturer. They export, which is exactly what we need. We need manufacturing in the U.S. So this is actually a great company. I mean, I don't know anything Gibson at all, but just learning about them. These are the companies we need here in America. The manufacturing, exporting companies. Unfortunately, they were raided. They're going to have lawsuits on their hands. They already have $3 million worth of damage and all the goods that the government confiscated with their warrant to seize their property. Yeah, you gotta wonder. It's not the basis wasn't Indian law. It's something else. You can't buy that. It's not Indian law. There's something more to it. They're not going to enforce laws from every country around the globe just at random. There's something else to it. There's reasons why they're pursuing S&P. There's reasons why they're pursuing Gibson, and they're not pursuing any other guitar companies that assumingly use the same kind of wood to make the same kind of sound in these particular guitars. What else? Gold was going up a lot in my last video, so it had a lot of people saying again, they always do, that gold is a bubble. And then let's see, between my last video and the previous video, it jumped about $225 an ounce. Between now and my last video, it has jumped. Let's see, my last video was 1724. Right now it is 1873. So it is still going up. The reason that they said it was a bubble is because it started to go down after my last video, and I think it dropped like 100 and some, and everybody was saying, "Oh, here it is, the bubble's bursting," and they were proven wrong yet again, because they've been saying that, these people have been saying that for over 10 years now, that gold is in a bubble. Literally over 10 years, some people have been saying that. It's just the voices have been magnified now that gold is so high, and it's in the news a lot. But you gotta look at the sources of the people that are saying now the new people that are saying gold is in a bubble. These are the people that didn't know anything about the housing bubble. They didn't know anything about the dot-com bubble. Meanwhile, the people that are buying gold are the people that are warning of those bubbles. They understand bubbles. It's as if the people that are claiming that gold is in a bubble right now, oil's in a bubble, silver's in a bubble, it's as if they just learned the term bubble. They just learned it. Like they don't understand why something's going up. They just realize it's higher than they're used to. Therefore, it must be a bubble. So, just look into the sources. Have these people been right before? Have these people ever called bubbles? You look at guys like Jim Rogers, Peter Schiff, Ron Paul, Mark Faber, Lou Rockwell. These guys predict things that are correct. They have credibility. They're all advocates of gold and silver. It's not a fluke that's happening. They understand things. Other people really don't. They just kind of guess. And they're supposed to be our economic experts on various channels. So it's unfortunate that the mainstream media gives them a big voice. But oh well, what do you expect? Our media is pretty bad here in America. I think most people would admit that, regardless of party affiliation. What else do I have? I actually wrote out a bunch of things and not in bullet points, so I might be reading some things. I also have a quote I'm going to read, and it's kind of lengthy at one point. But I also wanted to point out, before I move on from the gold topic, that if gold were truly in a bubble, it would be owned much more readily, and it would be not much fear. Like in the housing market, how all these people were getting involved in housing, and they thought, the profits are going to be there forever. Housing prices will never drop, and they took a dive. There's too much excitement in that housing market. Whereas in gold, it is driven a lot by fear. It's going up and down. It's very volatile, but it is obviously going up because of our reckless monetary policy and other countries' monetary policies, a bunch of fiat currencies. So instead, there's a lot of fear, and the mining stocks are being literally dragged upwards. They're kicking and screaming. It takes a lot to get those mining stocks up, and that would not be something you would see in a bubble. It's also weird that that these same people are listening to the experts. I guess they are thinking that the U.S. Treasuries are the safe haven, not gold, because U.S. Treasuries, they're taught, they're the world's reserve currency. So, our ignorance in the future will be just laughed at. People are fearing U.S. Treasuries. They're fearing U.S. bonds. And what do? They rush to the currency as a safe haven against the currency. That's how stupid we are. So, the dumb money is going to the Treasury market, and the smart money is going to the commodity market. And that's what people need to know. It is not wise to stay in U.S. bonds. Sorry. So we're in a very bad spot. Not only do we have record deficits, but we also have policies that are derived from Keynesian policies, Keynesian economics. If you look at who we give Nobel Prizes to, it's no longer the people that know about the economy, that know things. It used to be Milton Friedman, F.A. Hayek. Now it's guys like Paul Krugman, I forget how to say his name. He's a writer for the New York Times. And they think that he's all-knowing when it comes to economics. Unfortunately, people like Milton Friedman and F.A. Hayek, real Austrian economists, real smart guys, would be rolling in their grave if they knew that this guy, Paul Krugman, I'm not going to say his name right. I don't know what his name is. Last name, I don't respect the man at all, so I'm not going to even learn his name. It's Krugman or Krugman. Pick whatever. I'm going to say whatever when I read it. The Milton Friedmans would be rolling their grave if they knew this was the new standard for America. This guy, Paul Krugman, is an utter idiot. Let's see. Recently, he stated that the economy would boom if, let's say, that we spent all our resources, America spent all its resources fighting a hypothetical alien invasion attack. So his theory, not only is it dumb, in the premise, but it's also dumb in the theory as a whole, because his premise is that sorry, there's something bothering my eyes. His premise is that a boom in activity is what we need, even if it's unproductive activity. So building ammunition, building artillery, all these weapons and so on. We're gonna have all this stuff. Once it's built, when we're building it, we have short-term full employment or near full employment. So that is good, I guess. But what do you have to show afterwards when it's all said and done? What do you have to show? We're not building things to export or trade. We're building things to consume for a hypothetical alien invasion. We have nothing to show for this stuff. So it's like the broken glass theory. I won't explain it to you, but if you Google, I think it's called broken glass theory. I won't explain it to you. If you can Google it if you want, but it's basically you're spending money you could have used more productively, and you're just wasting it on things that were fine as they were. So yeah, we don't need a hypothetical alien invasion, but these people like Krugman insist that we got out of the Great Depression by going into World War II. This is also something that's taught in our public schools, unfortunately, but it's just nonsense. Yes, we got out of the technical Great Depression while we were at war, but the times during war were very, very, very harsh. Just because we improved a little bit in one quarter doesn't mean we got out of the Great Depression technically during the war and because of the war. We got out of our actual stagnant economy after the war, once the war was finished, because our economy was able to contract. We were able to produce things and start sending them overseas to export. We were building things to trade, to export. We weren't just building things to consume and borrowing the money to do it. We were borrowing the money to go to war, to produce things that had no productivity. The war is never a good thing for the economy. It's never a good thing for the economy. Don't believe that if somebody proposes it to you. It's unfortunate that mainstream that they believe that. It's just not true. All right, I was rambling. So where did I leave off? Well, I was talking about public schools. Instead, we get the classic revisionist history that the war ended, or that the war brought us out of the Great Depression. The New Deal brought us out of the Great Depression. Tell me why 7 years after the New Deal we were still struggling. Yeah. They also say that Herbert Hoover was a non-interventionist. He was a pure capitalist. That it took FDR to take office in his New Deal to right the wrongs of Herbert Hoover. The fact is, they were both wrong. Herbert Hoover was not a non-interventionist. He intervened, and we get this revisionist history that says that he just let things happen. It's not true. It's not true at all. We can actually go to quotes of him bragging about how bad it would be if he didn't intervene. We can go to his acceptance speech for the Republican nomination in 1932, in August 11th. We can go to a campaign speech in October the same year, 1932. The problem is that there are plenty of talking heads and spokespeople for the government to give you this revisionist history. There is no one spokesperson for the free market. So that's why we get our history changed. We have plenty of spokespeople for the government to stand up for them because they do nothing wrong ever, right? Well, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to give me some criticism, argue, support, whatever, feel free to reply and let me know, and we will talk about it further. Maybe I can explain myself better. I don't know how I'm doing, so take it easy, guys.